Hey everyone, welcome to devlog number 3. This one's going to be nice and short, mainly because I haven't had that much time over the last couple of days. So let me jump into it. I said last time what I wanted to do was dig into common themes, motifs, patterns in mythology so that I could use that for prompts or for inspiring ways to take the game. And this is where I started going in a direction I wasn't really expecting at first. Because, you know, when you think about the word mythology, at least from my background, I think about the really big, well-known ones like Greek mythology, Roman mythology, Egyptian mythology, Norse mythology, all those ones which are very, very typical in Western media. But I was actually, side story related, actually at an art exhibit where they featured as an act some Indigenous Australian dancing and song, and that sort of got me thinking, why restrict myself to just those stories that are told in, you know, typical Western media or from like European centralized mythology? Why not try and challenge myself, open things up, and create ideas which you could use to tell any sort of story rather than the classic, like, heroic myths, for example. But then I realized I know a little bit about things. I don't know that much about it. So I started just going on a research spree and looking into a whole bunch of different things. And that's where I came up with, I'm starting this giant mind map of learning a bit about different types of stories from around the world. Not necessarily like strictly mythology, but stories which are behind beliefs, behind culture, that sort of thing. Because again, that's what I want my game to be about. So this is nowhere near complete, by the way. So I've got like section on European, Greek and Roman mythology, what comes up often in there, some Norse mythology, where it is quite different because it's more of a saga style structure and there are different rules about the way the gods in the world work. I'm brief ideas about Celtic mythology, which I don't know anything about, so I need to find out more. Slavic mythology, I know nothing about as well. Something I found along the way, especially when I started looking into less well-known single culture stories, is that there is just no one source of truth. It's always a collection of different stories, and especially as you go into, say, the African continent, there's no one mythology or one religion or set of stories. It's hundreds of stories across hundreds of places. So something I'm going to have difficulty doing in this part is taking a step back and finding what are the common themes or common aspects that come across in some of these stories. And I've got the same sort of thing that even in my just really initial search around the stories across the Pacific, through Australia and the islands in the Pacific, same with stories from North, Middle, and South America, which I need to go and look into as well. I did do a little section into Hindu mythology and Hindu stories, again, because I kind of went down a rabbit hole, but this is nowhere near conclusive. I just sort of wrote down some of the key ideas that stood out to me as I was reading along and trying to summarize some stuff. So I've got a lot to go here. I'm probably going to continue looking at this for the next couple of days. I might share some interesting facts I found, but I'm not going to pretend to be an expert in any way. So that's probably what's going to come up next. We'll see if after doing this for a little while, it just turns into a bit of a rabbit hole, whereas I should just focus on getting something out the door and just doing some initial writing and steps, because the whole gameplay element is probably also important to get the feel of first. I suppose I can always come back to what sort of prompts to make or what major themes to have, but I might jump in back and forth between the two depending on how it goes. But yep, thanks for watching along for today. I will see you next time.